Welcome aboard, boys. I've got something new for you today. Very excited about it, and I think it's going to be super helpful. Every Wednesday, I'm going to take real questions from dads in the community, men in the middle of the rebuild, and unpack them honestly. No filters, no perfect answers, just truth, some tools, and the kind of conversation most men never get to have. Today, I've got a couple questions. Both of them are going to hit. They were big in our community. They were helpful. The first one is from a dad who can't get through exchange day without falling apart. And the second is from a dad who's doing well and somehow that's making everything worse. So we'll dig into it. All right. The first question is this. It came in from a dad in the community. He's about 8 months out of his divorce, couple kids, 7 and 9. He said, Anthony, I can hold it together all week. I go to work, I handle my stuff, I show up. But the moment I drop my kids off on exchange day and drive home to an empty house, I fall apart. Every time I sit in my car in the driveway, I can't move. I don't know what's wrong with me. How do I get through exchange day without it wrecking the rest of my day and the rest of my week? Guys, this is, first of all, nothing is wrong with you for feeling that. Felt the exact same thing. Was in the exact same place. God, it's like going from hero to zero, right? You just had these amazing moments with your kids and maybe you dropped them at school or whatever your exchange point is. Exchange day is the sharpest moment of loss a divorced dad experiences on repeat every single week. It's not just dropping off your kids, it's this recurring reminder of what the family used to look like. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss, a grief that has no funeral, no closure, no clear endpoint. The brain keeps processing it as a fresh wound every single time because there's no resolution, right? The car in the driveway, it's not weakness. Like I said, it's your nervous system. It hits a wall. It hasn't learned to climb yet. I'm going to give you three things here. Three things that have helped me, three things that I've learned, three things that you can adapt. One is don't go home to empty immediately if you can. Give yourself a transition from the kids to silence. So your transition from kids to silence, that's a trigger. That's going to freak you out. So we got to break the pattern. Drive somewhere with purpose first. Do something. Go grab a coffee. Go to the gym. Go have a walk. Anywhere that's not maybe the empty house, right? Give your system a bridge between these two worlds is what's going on, and create a ritual around it so that when it happens, we're now creating a system. Some would say ritual. I would say a system. Something that's yours only on exchange days. Maybe you take time to pray. Maybe you do a voice memo to your kids that they might not hear, but you just need to say. Maybe it is a workout. It's something you do different. Maybe it's a hike. It's a climb. Rituals and systems tell the brain this moment has meaning beyond the pain. And you're not avoiding the feeling. You're just giving it a container. And guys need this. They need this middle moment. They need this other point to be able to get through this. Another thing is text somebody in your community, not a vent. Just say, hey, it's exchange day today. I know for me, there's a couple guys that I just call. I'm a walker. So my transition is walking for a little while, just walking, praying, thinking, doing all those things. So I'm not just going into an empty house and seeing toys laying around, but there's this motion. And I believe motion creates emotion, the right emotion. In addition to that, I would say text. I like a call. And there's a few guys that I'll call or they'll call me when those exchange days happen, when, they had that peak moment of time with their kids and now it's not there. And we'll talk, man. Just shoot the stuff, talk about sports, what's going on. Hey, just being there for somebody, being there. Guys in our community, they'll call me or text my clients. They'll text. Hey, this is what's going on. How's things going? What's going on? Most of the time, we're just talking about everything else, man, fishing, whatever, and those sorts of things, just to sort of create this other point. So let me pause here for a second. Guys, if you're not subscribed, subscribe now. Give a follow, drop a sub on Spotify or Apple, whatever you're on. Share it with somebody if you can. This is what gets this podcast out. It will help find other dads that need help right now, that are in despair, that are going through the blender with exchange day. Simple things. Do it now. Just take your phone, boom, boom, click, click, bam. It's literally going to send it to a dozen guys that need help right now. That's something that you can do. I can't do that, but you can, and you can help even more people than I can help. And I want to say thank you in advance for doing that. I believe that what you make happen for others, God makes happen for you. Ephesians 6:8. So I want to give you that. And before we get into this next question, question 2, I want you to think about that exchange day, just that little system of what you can do, creating that space, getting out in motion, texting somebody else, getting on a phone call with a mentor, coach, guide, whoever that might be for you. And now create a rhythm for your exchange day so that you don't go back into the blender. Okay. Here's the next question. It came from a dad who's been in the community for a while. He's a couple years out, remarried. Business is growing, booming. Life by every measure is moving forward. And he said, Anthony, I feel guilty. I'm doing very well. My life is genuinely good right now. But my biological kids aren't with me full time. They're not here to share in what I'm building. I look at my wins and I feel like I'm betraying them somehow, like I don't deserve to be happy when they're not here. How do I carry success without the guilt eating me alive? And he's saying that because what happened was his children and his family were all building with him, but he had nothing. Gets divorced. Things are going well for him now. He wants them not just to experience him when he had nothing, but experience life when he has something and can do something. And it's a real guilt. It's a real issue. It's a real problem. So let's unpack this a little bit. Those of you that are in this state, in this place, in this position, this is the climb. These are for you guys that are looking for intentional help. And this guilt that he's talking about, it has a name. It's called survivor's guilt applied to success. That's what it's called. And it's one of the most unspoken traps in the divorced dad rebuild. The lie underneath it is that your success and your kids' well-being exist on opposite sides of the scale. That if you win, they lose. That joy is a betrayal of the sacrifice. But the truth is, and it's hard to hear, but your kids need to see you win. Not to impress them, but because a father who shrinks his life out of guilt teaches his children that love requires self-punishment. This is about self-punishment. It's not a lesson you want to pass down. You transfer the good and the bad onto your kids. You know, I think the quote, it's a good quote. It says, don't let the rain from the storm hit your kids, from your storm. You handle it. You deal with it. You get through it. You build in it. So your wins are not happening instead of your kids. They're happening for them. You're doing it for them. The business you're building funds their future. The man you're becoming models what's possible for them. The stability you're creating gives them somewhere safe to land, for real. So stop measuring success by who's in the room and measure it by what you're building for them to inherit, what you can do for them. Your kids not being physically present, it doesn't mean they're not part of the story. They're the reason the story exists. They're the reason why you're doing what you're doing. I'll give you a practical tool. It's called the win letter. It's something that guys in this position, again, it's getting stuff out of your head, onto paper, onto creating systems and strategies with this. Every time, think about it like this. Every time you hit a significant win, write a short note to your kids. Not even to send it, but just to keep it. A paragraph, what happened, why it matters, what you want them to know about it one day. Because you're building a record that says, I was winning for you even when you weren't in the room. And that guilt has nowhere to live when the evidence says otherwise. There's another dad in the group that we talk about this, and it's about doing this journal. And some of you guys might not be able to see your children. And this is a book. Some of you might not be able to send a letter to your kids. This is a book for you. This is a book for your wins. This is a book that when the door opens, you can hand it to them and say, I thought about you every single day. You see, we watch these movies of other people do this stuff and we sob and we cry. You know, love stories and love notes when a man is writing these letters and these cards for, you know, someone he loved when he was away at war. This is exactly the same thing. It's for your children. It's writing them a manuscript of your love, not just leaving it in a container in your head, but getting it out and saying, this is what I've been thinking about you. These were some wins that happened and they were all for you. Scripture says it like this in Lamentations. It says, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies are new every morning, not just the easy mornings, not just the mornings after the good weeks, exchange day mornings, guilt ridden mornings, 3 a.m. mornings. Every single one gets new mercy. So you don't carry yesterday's exchange day into today. You don't carry last week's guilt into today. It's new mercy every morning. It's not a promise for when you get it together. It's a promise for right now. So listen closely before we close out here. Drifters, it's not you. But what they do is they let exchange day define the week. They carry the guilt of winning like it's penance for something they owe. They don't owe that. You let that go. Builders feel the exchange day, and then they build anyway. Builders win, and then they dedicate the win to the kids who aren't in the room. You're not a bad dad because you're doing well. You're not weak because exchange day broke you open. You're a divorced dad in the middle of the hardest rebuild there is, and you are still standing. You're breathing. It's not nothing. That is everything, my friend. So listen, if this has been helpful, there's been some tools, some tips, some strategies, drop a follow, drop a sub, get a share, add a comment. Let's help and transform a million dads together. I can't do it alone, but you can. So I thank you in advance. I thank you for listening, and I want to challenge you. Put friction into you. Do these things. Do the hard things. Get the stuff out of your head. Build the system. Your life is on the verge of absolute explosion when you do. I know it. He's like, Anthony, how do you know that? I know it because when you bet on yourself, when you invest on yourself, like you know you can, like you know you've done before, your life will transform. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.